colorectal cancer is no longer just a concern of old age, it's a rising global threat. According to the World Health Organization, colorectal cancer is now the third most commonly diagnosed cancer worldwide, and the second leading cause of cancer-related deaths, claiming over 935,000 lives every year. Even more alarming is the surge of cases among younger adults. In the United States alone, diagnoses in people under 50 have increased by nearly 15% over the past 2 decades, a trend that has puzzled researchers and raised urgent public health concerns. What makes colorectal cancer especially dangerous is its silent progression. By the time noticeable symptoms appear, the disease is often already in an advanced stage. Yet what many don't realize is that this cancer doesn't strike at random. In most cases, it builds quietly over time, shaped by a complex web of lifestyle factors, genetic predispositions, and long-term internal inflammation. That's why understanding the underlying causes isn't just about knowledge, it's a matter of prevention. When we know what fuels this disease, we gain the power to make informed choices, adjust daily habits, and detect problems before they become life-threatening. In the next section, we'll explore the key risk factors you need to be aware of, so you can protect not only your colon, but your future. This video is for educational purposes only and does not replace professional medical advice. Please consult a healthcare provider for personal diagnosis and treatment. 1. Red and processed meats. For millions of people around the world, red meat is a daily staple. Bacon at breakfast, a ham sandwich at lunch, grilled beef for dinner, it's familiar, filling, and often seen as a sign of a protein-rich diet. But this very routine may be silently raising your risk of colorectal cancer, one meal at a time. According to the World Health Organization, processed meats are classified as Group 1 carcinogens, meaning there is clear evidence they cause cancer in humans. Red meats such as beef, pork, and lamb are placed in Group 2A, probably carcinogenic. The danger lies not just in the meat itself, but in how it's preserved and cooked. Nitrates and nitrites used to cure meat can convert into nitrosamines in the gut, potent compounds that damage DNA. Meanwhile, grilling or frying at high temperatures creates HCAs and PAHs, 2 other well-known cancer-causing chemicals. A large-scale analysis published in the International Journal of Cancer found that people who ate just 50 g of processed meat per day had an 18% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those who rarely consumed it. Over years or decades, that small daily serving adds up to a major risk. James, 58, a retired construction manager, had eaten ham sandwiches and grilled pork for lunch nearly every day for 25 years. He never smoked and rarely drank. When he started noticing blood in his stool and abdominal cramps, a colonoscopy revealed stage 2 colon cancer. His doctor linked the disease to years of eating processed meats high in nitrates and cooked at high temperatures. Now cancer-free, James has shifted to a plant-based diet and often says, "I wish I'd known sooner." His story is all too common. Processed meats, often seen as harmless, are in fact linked to chronic inflammation and cancer risk. The good news is, it's never too late to change. Reducing red and processed meat, choosing gentler cooking methods, and increasing plant-based fiber can drastically lower your cancer risk, starting with your next meal. 2. A low-fiber diet. Imagine your digestive tract as a highway. Now imagine there's traffic congestion, sluggish, slow-moving waste building up, day after day. That's what happens inside your colon when your diet lacks fiber. Without it, everything slows down, including one of your body's most important detox systems. Over time, this backup becomes dangerous. Fiber isn't just about avoiding constipation, it plays a critical role in colorectal cancer prevention. According to a landmark report by the World Cancer Research Fund, WCRF, and the American Institute for Cancer Research, AICR, there is strong evidence that each 10 grams of dietary fiber consumed per day reduces the risk of colorectal cancer by 10%. That's just 1 cup of raspberries, half a cup of lentils, or 2 slices of whole grain bread. So how does fiber help? First, it adds bulk to stool, speeding up transit time and reducing the contact between cancer-causing agents and the intestinal lining. Second, fiber feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which produce short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, a compound known to reduce inflammation, strengthen colon cells, and even trigger the self-destruction of abnormal cells before they become cancerous. In contrast, diets low in fiber, often high in refined carbohydrates, ultra-processed snacks, and lacking in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, can lead to chronic constipation, changes in gut microbiota, and long-term inflammation. A 2021 study published in The Lancet involving over 135,000 participants across 21 countries found that individuals with the lowest fiber intake had a 21% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those with the highest intake. Maria, 64, is a cautionary tale. For years, her meals centered around white bread, pasta, and barely any vegetables. She ignored the bloating and irregular bowel habits, until a routine colonoscopy uncovered a precancerous polyp. With a few dietary changes, chia seeds in yogurt, beans in soup, leafy greens daily, her digestion improved, and no new polyps were found. Like so many others, Maria discovered that fiber isn't just a helpful nutrient, it's a lifeline for your colon. 3. Obesity. Did you know? Just a few extra inches around your waist could quietly raise your risk of colorectal cancer. Obesity, especially abdominal obesity, is more than a cosmetic issue. Visceral fat, the deep fat stored around internal organs, acts like an endocrine organ, constantly releasing pro-inflammatory chemicals that disrupt insulin metabolism and create the perfect storm for cancerous cells to grow and multiply in the colon. A study published in the BMJ revealed that individuals with a BMI over 30, classified as obese, face a 30% to 70% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those with a normal weight. Even more concerning, abdominal fat alone, regardless of overall BMI, can significantly elevate the risk. David Thompson, 63, a retired accountant, believed he was just slightly overweight. Though he avoided alcohol and greasy food, years of inactivity and a growing waistline led to a surprise diagnosis: early-stage colon cancer. After surgery, he committed to major lifestyle changes, walking 30 minutes daily, adding more vegetables and whole grains to his meals, and cutting back on refined carbs and fast food. He also began regular checkups and followed a plant-forward diet to support long-term recovery, and is now in stable condition. What's the takeaway? You don't need to lose 40 pounds overnight. But even a 5 to 10% weight reduction, combined with regular movement and a healthy diet, can substantially reduce your risk of colorectal cancer. When it comes to your health, small steps lead to powerful change. 4. Physical inactivity. In today's modern world, where long hours at desks and screens have become the norm, physical inactivity is silently becoming one of the most overlooked contributors to colorectal cancer. When the body remains sedentary for extended periods, the natural movement of the intestines, known as peristalsis, slows down. This sluggish bowel activity means that waste and potential carcinogens linger in the colon longer than they should, increasing the exposure of the intestinal lining to harmful substances. But the consequences go far beyond digestion. A sedentary lifestyle is strongly linked to insulin resistance, which can lead to chronic inflammation and metabolic imbalance, both of which are major risk factors for cancer development. Moreover, lack of regular movement weakens the immune system, reducing the body's ability to detect and eliminate abnormal cells before they turn into tumors. The alarming part? You don't need to be completely inactive to be at risk. Even those who exercise occasionally but spend most of their day sitting, at a desk, in a car, or on the couch, may still fall into what scientists now call the active sedentary category. A 2020 review published in JAMA Oncology found that adults who engaged in less than 2 hours of moderate physical activity per week had a significantly higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to those who were more active. The good news is that even simple, consistent movement can make a major difference. Walking briskly for 30 minutes a day, gardening, climbing stairs, or taking stretching breaks during long sitting periods, can all help stimulate intestinal motility, improve insulin sensitivity, and boost immune surveillance. In short, movement is not just good for your heart and joints, it's a powerful tool for keeping your gut healthy and protecting it from cancer. When you choose to move, even in small ways each day, you're actively reducing one of the hidden risks of modern living. 5. Alcohol consumption. It might seem harmless, a glass of wine at dinner, a cold beer after work. But to your colon, these habits could quietly be planting the seeds of cancer. While alcohol is often associated with social bonding and relaxation, its impact on your digestive system can be dangerously underestimated. When alcohol is metabolized in the liver, it produces acetaldehyde, a toxic compound classified by the World Health Organization as a Group 1 carcinogen. This means it's a substance proven to cause cancer in humans. Regular alcohol consumption damages the gut lining, disrupts the balance of healthy gut bacteria, and promotes chronic inflammation, all of which compromise the integrity of the colon and increase the likelihood of abnormal cell growth. Over time, this can lead to mutations in DNA and increase the risk of colorectal cancer. A large-scale study published in The Lancet Oncology found that individuals who consumed alcohol 3 to 4 times a week had a 21% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to non-drinkers. The risk increases with the amount and frequency of consumption, especially when combined with other factors like smoking and poor diet. Mr. Martin never considered his 2 beers a night to be harmful. But when he began experiencing persistent abdominal pain and changes in bowel habits, he went for a colonoscopy and was shocked to learn he had early-stage colon cancer. "I thought I was just dealing with aging digestion," he recalled. "No one told me my evening drinks could be part of the problem." The takeaway? Alcohol may be socially acceptable, but it's biologically disruptive, especially to your gut. If you drink regularly, consider cutting back or replacing alcohol with healthier options like herbal teas, sparkling water with lemon, or antioxidant-rich juices. Your colon, and your future self, will thank you. 6. Smoking. What if every puff of your cigarette wasn't just damaging your lungs, but quietly sabotaging your gut as well? While most people associate smoking with lung cancer or heart disease, few realize that it also has a profound impact on the digestive system, especially the colon. Tobacco smoke contains over 70 known carcinogens, including benzene, formaldehyde, and nitrosamines. These harmful chemicals don't just stay in the lungs. They travel through the bloodstream or dissolve in saliva, making their way into the gastrointestinal tract. Once there, they can trigger chronic inflammation, damage the colon's lining, and initiate mutations in DNA, key steps in the development of colorectal cancer. According to a study published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute, smokers have an 18% higher risk of developing colorectal cancer compared to non-smokers. Even more concerning, smokers who have already had colorectal cancer are significantly more likely to experience a recurrence. Mr. Daniel, a 65-year-old retiree, smoked a pack a day for over 3 decades. He never experienced lung problems and assumed he was in the clear. But after persistent abdominal discomfort and unexpected weight loss, a routine colonoscopy revealed stage 2 colon cancer. "I never imagined cigarettes had anything to do with my gut," he said. "I thought I was safe because I didn't have a cough." Smoking doesn't only scar your lungs, it undermines the entire body, including your colon. If you're a smoker, this is your wake-up call. Quitting smoking isn't just about breathing easier, it's also about lowering your risk of deadly cancers like colorectal cancer. Whether it's cutting back gradually, seeking medical support, or replacing the habit with healthier coping tools, every step toward quitting is a step toward protecting your future. 7. Family history of colorectal cancer. Cancer doesn't always start with lifestyle, it can begin in your family tree. If your parent, sibling, or child has been diagnosed with colorectal cancer, your own risk of developing the disease can double or even triple compared to someone with no such history. This risk becomes even more serious if your relative was diagnosed before the age of 50, as it may point to inherited genetic conditions like Lynch syndrome or familial adenomatous polyposis, FAP, both of which dramatically increase lifetime cancer risk. These inherited mutations interfere with the body's ability to repair DNA damage, allowing abnormal cells in the colon to multiply unchecked. What's more alarming is that these mutations can silently pass through generations, putting children and grandchildren at risk if left undetected. I once treated Ms. Emily, a 38-year-old marketing executive who came in for persistent indigestion. She was active, ate well, and had no known risk factors, until a colonoscopy revealed a sizable precancerous polyp. It wasn't until we discussed her family history that she recalled her father had died of colon cancer at 49. Without early screening, she might have faced the same fate, only discovered much later. If someone in your immediate family has had colorectal cancer, don't wait for symptoms to appear. Instead, begin screening 10 years earlier than the age at which your relative was diagnosed. A simple colonoscopy could be the most powerful shield you ever choose for yourself, and for future generations. 8. Adenomatous polyps. Colorectal cancer doesn't usually begin with malignant cells. Instead, it often starts silently, with tiny, benign growths known as polyps that form on the lining of the colon. Among these, adenomatous polyps are the most concerning, as they carry the highest risk of turning cancerous over time if not detected and removed early. These polyps typically don't cause obvious symptoms in the early stages, which is why they are often discovered incidentally during a routine colonoscopy. However, the transformation from an adenomatous polyp to full-blown cancer can take 10 to 15 years, meaning that early screening and removal can effectively stop cancer before it even begins. A classic example is Mr. Liam, a 56-year-old man who underwent a routine colonoscopy at his doctor's recommendation. The exam revealed 2 polyps, both over 1 centimeter in size, one of which showed signs of high-grade dysplasia, a precancerous condition. Thanks to timely intervention, he was able to avoid progressing to invasive cancer. Adenomatous polyps are like early warning signs of colorectal cancer. Don't wait for symptoms to appear before getting checked. Regular colonoscopies after age 45, or earlier if you have risk factors, are one of the most powerful tools for protecting your colon and your future. 9. Chronic inflammatory bowel disease. Not all colorectal cancers are caused by diet or genetics. People living with chronic inflammatory bowel diseases such as ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease are also at significantly higher risk. This is because ongoing inflammation and repeated injury to the intestinal lining can trigger abnormal cell growth and genetic mutations, which may eventually lead to cancer. The risk increases substantially after 8 to 10 years of having the disease, especially if the inflammation is widespread or accompanied by dysplasia, a precancerous change in the cells of the colon lining. Unlike polyps, cancer that develops from chronic inflammation is often harder to detect through routine imaging, making regular colonoscopies with multiple biopsies essential for early diagnosis. If you or a loved one has ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, follow a strict surveillance plan, including colonoscopies starting 8 years after diagnosis, along with anti-inflammatory diet choices and effective medical treatment. This is one of the most effective strategies to prevent the silent transition from inflammation to cancer. 10. Age and gender. Age is an unchangeable factor, but it plays a major role in colorectal cancer risk. After the age of 50, the likelihood of developing this cancer increases significantly with each passing decade, as DNA damage accumulates over time, while the body's ability to repair cells and defend against abnormal growth declines. In addition, men are at a higher risk than women, due in part to lifestyle factors such as lower physical activity, higher intake of red meat and alcohol, and less frequent participation in regular health screenings. Estrogen may offer some protective effect for women before menopause, but this benefit diminishes with age. That's why, even if you feel perfectly healthy, turning 50, especially for men, should be your cue to make routine colonoscopies a non-negotiable part of your preventive care. Early detection remains the most powerful way to ensure colorectal cancer doesn't become a silent killer. Colorectal cancer doesn't happen by chance. It's often the result of long-term exposure to certain risk factors, many of which are hidden in our daily habits. As you've seen in today's video, everything from poor fiber intake, excessive consumption of red and processed meats, chronic inflammation, to family history can quietly raise your risk. But the good news is, when you understand the causes, you gain the power to prevent them. As a health professional, my advice is always the same: don't wait for symptoms to act. A fiber-rich diet, maintaining a healthy weight, avoiding tobacco, and limiting alcohol are some of the most effective natural vaccines against this life-threatening disease. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss future insights on how to protect your health. Your health, and your family's, deserves to be protected proactively, not reactively. See you in the next video, as we continue this journey towards smarter, healthier living.